Hello and welcome to another session of English Paper 3, analysis of the short stories, A Silent Song and Other Stories with your teacher Nancy. Specifically today we are talking about the short story Checkmate, the last story in the book, quite long. What generally is Checkmate all about? Checkmate is about a lady called Sukia, who is a corporate secretary in a company and is working under one Randall, who is her manager. And main issues here involve huge source of money, fraud, majorly fraud, and issues of corruption in companies where people live expensive lives based on money that is made in ways that may be questionable, as you can see in our story. When the story starts, we have Sukia, who is in a bank, and the bank teller is trying to explain something to her about opening a US dollar account because the check she has is quite huge and cannot fit here. Now, Sukia does not understand why this lady insists, because she's looking at the lady and sees she's just very sensible woman with spectacles and sensible black wire frames and a black hair tied nicely at the back. But according to Sukia, she does not make any sense. But she still insists. Now, Sukia takes her time to glance around the hall. I think she's good at counting the number of people that are there in this hall, banking hall, sorry. But then again, there's something that is making us suspicious again of this Sukia character. She has come to this branch and not the one where she has a savings account, because the staff there will be too familiar with her business, and so she does not want to go to the bank where she has a savings account. And that already tells you there is something she's most probably hiding, or the money that she's coming to deposit is not exactly genuine. So on the next page, on page 99, she finds it a joke when the manager asks about the account. Not the manager, the bank teller is asking her about the account that she wants to deposit the $5 million in, which is worth $30 million in that country, and that is a lot of money. Now, she thinks of going to the manager, but she remembers again, she does not deal with the managers. Again, another reason why we think she's involved in some kind of fraud. When she joined that corporate company, the company as a corporate secretary, she had got tenfold her salary. And because of that, she felt the bank managers would question her. That is why she does not want to deal with them. Her taxable salary was $50,000, which was always deposited in her account every 28th of every month. But that was not her real income. She had more. She's really benefiting from this company, sorry. She's paying mortgage for a 2-bedroom apartment in the island, and she has monthly bills. She's servicing SUV, an Audi 7, a very expensive car. Eats most of her meals, including breakfast and the rest, and all this are taken care of by the company. And even her hairstyling, the money she uses for hairstyling. So that means it's a company that makes a lot, and that is why we get very suspicious. Her savings account currently just has over $7 million, and that is not a small amount, to have in an account. And she gives us an idea that before, when she joined the company 6 years ago, she used to just deposit, her account never went beyond $10,000, and now she's depositing 5 times that amount every week, and that is a lot of money. By then, she was working as a store clerk, so her amount of money that she would get by then was small. So now she doesn't want to deal personally with the bank manager, and of course she feels like they would be suspicious of her. So this money, the bank teller tells her at the end of page 99 that the $5 million US is worth $30 million 242,000 Trinidad and Tobago dollars, and that is a lot of money. And according to the bank teller, she prefers that she opens a US dollar account. She's not very comfortable with that. Then she also feels Sukia, that is, I would say, looks down on the bank teller from the way she tries to think that bank teller does not make sense. Even the hairstyle, she questions that, and she feels she's not really in her class. So this somebody who has acquired a lot of money. There's a bit of flashback on page 100 about her life, when her father died from kidney failure because she could not get proper medication, which if that were to happen now, then she would afford very expensive hospitals. And she's not comfortable with the bank teller questioning her with the other people behind her. But then again, there's more about how rich she is as far as her monies are concerned. Still at the end of page 100, she has a local account. She has other accounts in the Cayman Island where she's using those accounts to pay mortgage for a London flat. She has a flat in London, and she also has offshore bank accounts, but she preferred to use a local accounts for these amounts that she has. She also looks at the bank teller's specs and feels they were inexpensive, and even at the end it wonders that she's actually unusually pretty. I don't know why that is an issue with Sukia. But then again, she questions the amounts in the checks that she has brought to deposit in her savings account, and the amounts are quite huge. And the figures are 67,000 in September, 129,000 in November. There's 82,000 she deposited in December, 240,000 in January, 400,000 in April, and the line goes. So there's a lot of money that she has been depositing, and when the teller mentions them, she's very good at counting. And then she's asking if she could do that, bring that check tomorrow, and the bank teller tells her on page 101, tomorrow is fine, we open at 8, and you'll need to provide the source of that fund. So that means they may have to investigate, and I don't think Sukia is very comfortable with that matters investigation. And she wonders if, since the teller is not in her class, such amounts she feels is what is maybe the teller is uncomfortable with. And she leaves the bank and boards her SUV, a very expensive vehicle. And as she sits there, she sits on the leather seat. There's air conditioning in that vehicle. And she thinks of going home to check out the checks before going to meet Randall to clarify why he had given her that check. There's more on her rich lifestyle. We have her apartment in the suburbs. We are told it is in it was located in a suburb where the wealthiest 1% of the population lived. Wealthiest 1%. So that means it's a very, very rich neighborhood, and that means that she can afford to live a very, very expensive life. We still have more on page 102 about her expensive life. We have the pen that she uses for signing documents, and Randall had borrowed that pen from her, and it is an 18-karat Tibaldi rollerball. 18 karat, so that would mean maybe the weight of the gold that is made up, that is used to make the phone. And he remembers that that pen was still with Randall, and he had not returned it to her. She had other apartments apart from the London flat. She had a condominium in Miami, and of course she's thinking that she could also build with 14 million Trinidad and Tobago dollars from the amount that she was to deposit, a 6-bedroom house with a swimming pool and a gazebo. You're talking of a life that is, somebody lives a life of very expensive, a very expensive life. As a corporate secretary, she's involved in fraud, and you can see this money that she gets and she deposits every week in her account. are questionable. Now, we are told for her to be employed as a corporate secretary at this company, her job was to draw up contracts, and she could compile the documents for Randall and ensure there are no loopholes. But then again, it is these documents she would draw that Randall had to close such loopholes. Instead, these documents she would create loopholes, and that is how Randall was able to make a lot of money through corrupt deals using her. And then we also have several contracts for construction that she was involved in, and she took advantage of that. She has an iPhone, a very expensive one, which gives her the day's schedule. She can even get to contact the secretary to get to know about Randall's schedule, and that was something that shows that she had lots of money. They had sold this to the Chinese. There was a lot of work and it was profitable, and of course she was able to pocket that rich check. In her house there is a cream leather sofa, air conditioning. It's a house that is full of expensive items. So you have white rugs that are spotless on the floor, and the table and the sofa are the gleam of leather polish. And of course she has maids, but they would not go into her study. And then of course it's an ergonomic office that is in her study, a very expensive one. And now as she sits in her study, she's counting the money, and they totaled to US $12 million. And she's checking out the checks to confirm that there's nothing wrong with them, because the teller had questioned about the checks. The Cayman Island issue of our houses there is also brought up there on page 105, still about her rich life. Still in her house, you have the master bedroom, and the master bedroom, she tossed the clothes on the queen-sized 4-poster bed and slit open the skirt, suit, okay, the pink camisole and the rest that she was wearing. This is a very expensive lady, and most likely it's because of the monies that she gets from Randall. So she arrives at the office to question Randall, and she makes sure she's there on time. At the office we meet Margaret. Margaret here is an executive assistant to Randall and has a bigger office now than Sukia. She's also paid more than the managers in the company, and she felt that she knew a lot about Randall's dealings, and that is why he was paying her so much, and that tells you that there is corruption going on. So she questions Randall on page 107 about the monies that he has been paying her, and especially this, not the monies, okay, she's been getting all that, but the $5 million US dollars that is raising eyebrows at the bank. And she's shown him the check and is asking him, and Randall clearly says, on the books it is the fee for the methanol deal that you helped me to seal with the Chinese company, and off the books it is your fee for keeping your mouth shut on that methanol bill. So that means there is corruption that took place. Then she wonders, why do I have to keep my mouth shut? We drew a standard contract. According to Sukia, it's clean. And he tells her that this is a valuation report for the shares. The contract you drew up undervalues those shares by 50%. And that's already a sign there's fraud that has taken place. And that is why the Chinese had offered a huge kickback, because the amount that was charged was very small, half of it. And he tells her, your signatures are there too. I said, no, those are not my signatures. Randall says, I didn't even write the contract and I didn't sign. And he's telling her, you have peculiar habits of signing these checks. And he's smiling, and it's making her very uncomfortable. She's very nervous. She had felt a flutter in her stomach. She felt as though her stomach was cold, tight ball, that is a kind of suffering. Her mouth had gone dry because she's realizing that she has been betrayed and she's now in trouble. And he's accusing her of being the one to sign, and then he ends up pulling out her pen from his pocket and saying, it's quite a nice pen. We know that Randall has actually forged Sukia's signature on this one. And it tells her the universe is collapsing. Sukia and its masters cannot hold. Something is wrong with the company. This company will be bankrupt in 3 months. So there's a problem. And she wonders, why do we have to be bankrupt? We're the biggest conglomerates in the region. And he tells her that maybe it's a worldwide financial crisis, but there's something wrong. Huh? And he says, but I only did what you told me to do. And why have you forged your own signature in the checks that you gave me? That is Sukia asking Randall. And Randall says, I was just protecting myself. When the storm breaks, I'll be in its eye. And the checks are one strategy. You, the managers, the board, will implicate me. And so I've made sure that my signature is not the one that will bring me down. It is you. And of course, that one affects Sukia a lot. Her eyes grew hot and tears sprouted in her cheeks. She was not comfortable. And she says, if we collapse, that affects every person that has insurance policy with us. That means the government will hire American forensic auditors to prosecute the case. But then Randall says that is a possibility, but according to him, the signatures are not his, so he's not going to suffer for. And he's asking, can't you help me? But he tells her, okay, the only way I can help you, come and kneel before me. And then Sukia hears her phone beep, and she excuses herself, and when she pulls out the phone from her pocket and puts it to her ear, she realizes the phone was recording everything that Randall says. And then it switches, presses a button, and it tells the speaker, clearly brings out Randall's voice saying, off the books, it's your fee for keeping your mouth shut about the maternal deal. And he also tells Randall that it does not only record, it also emails. So Randall tries to get to her, but is really scared. He tells her, don't worry, we'll face the storm together. Checkmate. Huh? He has found him. And the way he tried to trap her, checkmate as in chess. When you play chess, there's normally that checkmate that ensures that you don't cross to the final end to win. So he's trying to tell her that you try to play that checkmate with me. I'm also playing it with you. We'll face the storm together. And so the only way Randall has really panicked. Come, Randall. Come kneel before your mistress. I think that is something that ends our story nicely on grounds that he tries to make fun of her and he succeeds, and she turns the tables around for him. So we are addressing matters fraud, matters corruption, and how you can end up miserable when you engage in such any question in that direction. What goes around comes around. You do this to somebody, it can also turn to you. Money may not be a source of happiness. All those are questions we can answer using our story, Checkmate. So let's read it again and find out those small details that are required whenever we're doing paper 3. You're welcome.